For one short moment, Bak Tang and I were so nervous we could not speak. I put my hand behind me and touched an empty wooden box. If the cat attacked, I could fight back. Even if it ran away, it would not hurt us again so easily. We both held our breath and stared at the cat. The iron cage door had fallen open, but the old black cat did not rush out. It stayed low in one corner. It did not move. It only watched us. A whole minute passed. The air felt heavy. Bak Tang spoke first and broke the silence. "You can come out now," she said. "You are free." The cat lifted its body a little. It shook once. When it shook, all its black fur spread out, then fell down again, soft and shiny. After that, it walked out slowly. At the door of the cage, it stopped again. Then it stepped forward and walked straight toward us. It came closer with no sound. It moved like a ghost. It did not look angry, but who could know what it would do next? The closer it came, the more danger I felt. It stopped about 6 or 7 feet away. It raised its head and looked at us. From its belly came a low grr, grr sound. Then it opened its mouth and cried a few times. It truly seemed to want to tell us something, but we did not know what it wanted to say. Still, one thing was clear. The hate between us was now very small. Bak Tang stepped forward. She looked like she wanted to touch the cat. But before she could reach out, the old black cat cried once and jumped. I was shocked. I quickly pulled Bak Tang back. But it was only a false alarm. The cat did not jump at Bak Tang. It jumped toward the basement door, very fast. When we looked up, it had already rushed outside. Bak Tang and I chased it, but when we reached the basement stairs, the cat was gone. Bak Tang searched the whole house and called again and again. I said, "No need, it already left." Bak Tang looked a little sad. After standing still for a while, she said, "We did not fail completely. At least it is not our enemy now." I gave a bitter smile. "It is not friendly either." It left. Bak Tang frowned and said seriously, "You cannot blame it. Did you see it just now? It wanted to tell us something, but humans and cats cannot talk well." I laughed. "Even humans cannot understand humans, and you want humans to understand a cat?" Bak Tang sighed. I did not know why. Maybe she felt sorry the old cat left without a word. That black cat was too strange. But after I caught it and faced it, I understood something. We could not solve the secret from the cat itself. The key was a person. That person was old Zhang. I had put a notice in the newspaper. Would old Zhang come to find me? I used the fact that I had caught the cat to pull him to me. But now the cat was gone. Would he still come? I did not tell Bak Tang this. I did not want her to blame herself. After all, she was the first one who said we should let the cat go. After that, Bak Tang and I stopped talking about the old cat. We both kept thinking of it inside, but we acted as if nothing happened. That night, 2 friends came to visit. After they left, it was very late. We walked them to the door and turned back. Then we saw someone hiding in the corner near the wall. He moved a little, like he wanted to come closer, but also wanted to run away. I stopped. The streetlight was dim, but I saw his face at once. My heart began to beat fast. I called, "Mr. Zhang!" Bak Tang had already walked inside. When she heard my shout, she turned back quickly. The man in the corner was not anyone else. It was old Zhang, the only clue I had. When he heard me, his body shook. For a second, he could not decide, should he run or should he come to me? I gave him no time. I rushed over and stood right in front of him. Old Zhang looked very scared. He spoke in a messy way. It is here, in your place? I have been here for a long time." I said, "Mr. Zhang, please don't be nervous." He still looked lost. At that time, Bak Tang came over too. She smiled and said, "Mr. Zhang, things are much better than you think. Please come in and talk." Old Zhang hesitated, but in the end, he followed us inside. After he sat down, he kept looking around, like he really wanted to see the big black cat. He rubbed his hands again and again. I said, "Mr. Zhang, you came because of my notice, but the cat is not here now." Old Zhang jumped a little. His face turned pale with fear. I quickly said, "Don't worry. Look at our living room. The damage is all from that cat. When we put it into the iron cage, I truly wanted to kill it." Old Zhang cried out, "No, you can't. You can't kill it. It is not a cat."
I froze, because the big black cat was clearly a cat, only very strange. I did not think too deeply yet. Old Zhang looked too tense. Maybe he was just frightened and his words were confused. So I only smiled and said, "Of course I didn't kill it. We found it could understand human words. We tried to turn an enemy into a friend, so we opened the cage." Old Zhang let out a long breath. "Then, what happened to him?" I opened my hands. He left. Old Zhang stood up. "I am sorry. If he did something wrong to you, I came to say sorry. Since he is not here, I must go. Goodbye, Mr. Wei." He was already standing. As a host, I should have stood, but I stayed seated and shook my head. "Mr. Zhang," I said, "you can't go." Old Zhang said in a sharp, nervous voice, "Mr. Wei, you have no right to keep me here." I smiled. "You misunderstand. I am not locking you in. I only hope you stay. I want us to study something together about that big black cat." Old Zhang looked even more uneasy. I said, "You can feel safe. That cat broke my home and scratched my shoulder, but I still let him go. We should not be enemies." Old Zhang looked like he made a hard choice. He raised his voice. "I really can't tell you anything. Truly, I can't say anything unless I meet him first and he agrees." I was shocked. In Chinese, he and it sound almost the same. For a moment, I did not know who Old Zhang meant. I asked, "Who?" Old Zhang answered with only one word, "Him." I wanted to ask again, but Bak Tang said, "He means the cat." Old Zhang nodded many times. I touched my cheek and gave a bitter smile. Old Zhang wanted to talk to the cat first, and only then could he answer me. How far could a man and a cat understand each other? A man could not decide, and a cat must decide. It felt strange, almost funny. Before I could speak, Bak Tang said, "All right, Mr. Zhang. I believe he will go back to you. You two can talk well. I think you will come back to study this with us. It will help." Old Zhang said again and again, "Thank you, thank you." He hurried to the door. Tang opened it for him, and he left quickly.
I felt a little angry. When Tang came back, I waved my hand and said, "Great, the cat is gone, and now the man is gone too." Tang came close to me. "Don't worry, both will come back." I made a low sound, not happy. Tang said, "Do you remember? When the cat left, it looked like it wanted to tell us something, but it couldn't. I believe old Zhang and the cat can understand each other." A little hope rose in my heart. "You mean," I said, "after old Zhang meets the cat will use old Zhang to tell us something?" Tang nodded. "I hope so." I had no other words, and I had no other way. We went upstairs together. In the middle of the stairs, Tang suddenly asked, "Do you remember? Old Zhang said a strange sentence. He said it is not a cat." "I remember," I said. "I think he misspoke. It is clearly a cat. If it's not a cat, what is it?" Tang thought for a moment. "From the outside, it is a cat, but from what it does, it is really not like a cat." I did not want to argue in circles. I waved my hand. "Even so, it is still a cat, just a strange cat. How can he say it is not a cat?" Tang became stubborn. "Old Zhang has been with him longer than we have. He knows more. If he says it is not a cat, he must have a reason." I could not help laughing. "Please," I said loudly, "when you talk about the cat, don't use the word he. It makes me confused. Are you talking about a person or a cat?" Tang murmured, "I am also confused. Is it a person or a cat?" I laughed even louder. "Enough," I said. "You are making it too mysterious. Listen, it has ears, green eyes, sharp claws, black fur, and a long tail. It is a cat, a real cat." Tang still argued, "That is only the outside." I shook my head. Arguing with a woman is silly. I stopped. That night, my mind stayed in a fog. The next morning, I got a call from old Chen. He said, "My life is saved at last." I was shocked. "What happened to you?" Old Chen sounded angry. "What's wrong with you? Not me, old Boo. If he is badly hurt, it is like I am badly hurt." I said quickly, "Sorry, I'm very glad he is getting better, truly glad." Old Chen sighed. "He is not fully well yet, but he is much better." I put down the phone. I made my hand into a fist and tapped my forehead. A cat, a dog, and now a cat that felt like something else. I was afraid my mind could not hold so many strange things. Then the doorbell rang. My heart jumped. I heard Tang shout from downstairs, "Come quick, look who is here." I almost ran down the stairs. And at once I saw our guests, old Zhang and the old black cat. Old Zhang was already sitting. The old black cat sat beside him. Tang was squatting in front of the cat. They had really come. I felt surprised and also a little unsure what to do. I forced myself to stay calm. "You came to see me," I said. "Do you have an answer now?" Old Zhang looked serious. "Before I speak, I want to ask you one question." Tang and I looked at each other, then nodded. Old Zhang stared at us, and we saw the cat stare at us too, with the same eyes. A full minute passed, then old Zhang slowly turned to the cat. "All right," he said, "I will say it." The cat's front claws came out. They touched the floor like sharp hooks. The cat did not move. It was like a black statue. Old Zong looked at it again and sighed. "Both of you," he said. "He is the most unlucky person." When I heard this, I jumped up like a needle stabbed me. "Fix your words," I said. "It is a cat, not a person." Old Zong sighed. "Mr. Wei, listen to me. It is a person, truly. But what he looked like before, I don't know. Maybe it was even uglier than a cat. Maybe it didn't look like anything we know." I felt anger rise, but Baik Tang held my arm. She asked softly, "Mr. Zong, do you mean he is not from Earth? Is he from another place?" When Baik Tang said that, I became quiet. Because I knew the story had stepped into a new world, one where possible and impossible did not matter anymore. In that world, anything could happen, and we humans knew so little. Old Zong sighed again. Then Baik Tang asked, "So he is not from Earth? He came from far away?" When she said this, I calmed. I understood what she meant. Far away did not mean another city. It meant a place outside the Earth. In the whole universe, Earth is only a tiny dot. There are many, many places we do not know. Compared to them, what humans know is very small. Baik Tang and I stayed quiet. Old Zong looked at us with a strange, careful look. After a moment, he said, I don't believe you really understand." I spoke slowly. "Mr. Zong, we understand. It is not so shocking. There can be higher beings outside Earth. They can come here. In the future, this may become normal." Old Zong sighed. "That is your idea. Other people will not think like that. So we must keep this secret for the poor outsider, even if he is an invader." I frowned. His words felt strange. A poor invader. It sounded like two opposite ideas in one. Old Zong reached out and patted the black cat's head gently. At that moment, I clearly heard the cat make a small sound, like a sigh. Old Zong said, "Long ago, it was an ordinary cat. It lived in the happiest time for cats, when people in Egypt loved cats like gods and protected them." I was stunned. Baik Tang and I looked at each other. We were not cat lovers, but we knew a little history. Cats did have a lucky time, and also a very dark time. In ancient Egypt, people loved cats so much that it was almost crazy. If enemies caught cats and threatened to kill them, Egyptians could even give up a city to save the cats. But that time was very far away. More than 3,000 years. My heart jumped. The bone test of the cat had shown something like that. It was indeed over 3,000 years old. A rough idea began to form in my mind. I said quickly, "I understand. He came from space more than 3,000 years. He came to Earth, and he was a cat from another planet." I thought my guess was good, but old Zhang kept shaking his head. I looked like a child who answered wrong. When he finished, he said, "You are completely wrong. At first, he was a black cat on Earth." I froze. "You are joking. You just said—" Old Zhang waved his hand and stopped me. "Please listen," he said. "If you keep cutting in, you will not understand." I took a deep breath and stayed quiet. Inside, I felt impatient and confused. Old Zhang tilted his head and used his hands as he spoke. "Let us imagine this," he said. "Long ago, on a planet outside Earth, there was a high life form. One of them came to Earth by a way we cannot understand." I did not want to interrupt, but I truly could not follow. I sighed. "Sorry, what do you mean, a way we cannot understand?" Old Zhang said, "It is a way beyond us. One of them came, but we could not see him, we could not touch him. Still, he was here. He came from another place to Earth." I felt even more confused. But old Zhang was trying hard to explain, so I forced myself to keep listening. I nodded as if I understood. "All right, so one of them came to Earth." Old Zhang nodded. "Yes, before coming, they must have studied Earth, but they did not understand everything. They knew Earth had many living things, and one kind of living thing was the ruler, the owner of Earth." He looked at us. "We know that ruler is human, but they did not know. They had never seen any Earth life, just like we have never seen life on their planets." This part was easier to accept. I nodded. Old Zhang gave a bitter smile. Because of this, tragedy fell on him. He pointed to the big black cat. "Back to the first idea," he said. "A high being from space comes to Earth. If he wants to act here, he must first invade an Earth being. After that, the Earth being becomes him. His mind controls that body. Do you understand?" I let out a long breath. I understood. I understood even more than he knew. In my mind, I could picture it, a strong, smart mind without a body, moving freely like invisible power. If it found a body, it could live and act. I asked, "Then what happened?" Old Zhang said, "He came to Earth. Of course, he wanted to invade a human." Old Zhang paused, then continued. "But he had never seen a human. Near a temple in Egypt was his arrival place. He saw many cats there, proud and bright, loved and protected, and among them one big black cat looked the most important." Bak Ching cried softly, "Ah, he thought cats were the rulers of Earth." Old Zhang smiled with sadness. "Yes, you are right. He thought cats were the highest life on Earth, and he thought that big black cat was a leader of them." He stopped for a moment, then said, "So he—" Old Zhang fell silent. For half a minute, nobody made a sound. Bak Ching and I held our breath. Even the black cat was silent.
Then old Zhang spoke again. "So he entered that big black cat. From that moment, he made a mistake that could not be fixed. I tried to control myself, but strange sounds still came from my throat. Now I understood what old Zhang meant by the most unlucky invader. A high being came to Earth in a way humans could not imagine. He could enter a human body and control it. He could become powerful. He could rule. He could call his people to come and take over Earth. But he made a terrible mistake. He entered a cat and became a cat. If I thought about it, it was almost funny. But then I saw the cat's dark green eyes. I could not laugh. Bai Chan sighed softly. "Then what can he do? He became a cat." Old Zhang sat still for a while. Then he gently stroked the black cat's back. After a moment, he said, "It is truly terrible. Of course, terrible for him. For humans, it was great luck." Old Zhang waved his hand. "Think about it," he said. "More than 3,000 years ago, humans were still very early in learning. If he had entered a human, that human would become a superperson at once. He could control the whole Earth. Soon he could contact his own planet. He could bring more of his kind. Humans could become slaves." Old Zhang looked down. "But he entered a cat and became a cat."
He gave another bitter smile. "You know," he said, "no matter how special a cat is, it is still only a cat. What can it really do?" Bai Chan and I took in a sharp breath and looked at each other. Our minds were a mess. Old Zhang's story was too strange, but we had met the black cat ourselves. We had seen its strange acts. Only this story could explain them. Bai Chan said quietly, "Mr. Zhang, if he came as only a mind with no body, then even if he entered a cat by mistake, he could leave the cat and enter a human, right? And a very smart cat could still be worshipped by people." Old Zhang said slowly, "You are right, but the outsider did not understand Earth well. This invasion method is the best. Enter a body, use the body's system, and act with a higher mind. In theory, a cat body and a human body should be the same." Bai Chan and I said together, "Yes, it should be like that." Old Zhang shook his head. "But reality was different," he said. "After he entered the cat's brain waves disturbed him. He could not use his full mind. The cat's way of thinking affected him. His wisdom dropped a lot. He became only an unusual cat." Old Zhang's voice grew heavier. "So, he could not leave the cat body anymore. He could not move into a human body." When old Zhang used words like "move into a human body," my thoughts became a little clearer. In old stories, people talk about a spirit leaving one body and entering another. Old Zhang's words felt like that. In my own mind, I made his idea simpler. I used one word: soul. His unknown way could be many things. Maybe it was a strong mind wave, but that was too hard to imagine. Soul was easier. So I thought like this: inside the big black cat was a soul from far away. It was very smart. But when it entered the cat, its mind became weaker. It became half lost inside a cat. After I organized it like that, I understood more. Still, I had many questions. This story was almost impossible to accept. Old Zhang looked at my face and said, "You want to ask why he did not die and how he lived so long, right?" That was not my first question, but it was one of them, so I nodded. Old Zhang said, "It is only because time is different. Where he comes from, time is not the same as on Earth. For humans, 3,000 years passed. For a cat, that is 200 lifetimes. But for him, it was less than 1/10 of a cat lifetime." I did not fully understand, but it was not the most important point, so I accepted it for now. Then I asked, "After he came and entered a cat by mistake, did nobody else come after him? Did his people never send another one?" My question was simple, but old Zhang's reaction was not simple at all. His face turned pale, his body shook, his hands trembled. He tried to calm himself, but he could not. After a long time, he finally answered, but at first his words were messy. I could not understand. Later, I understood. He was telling me he had asked the black cat the same question before. Of course he had. Everything he knew came from the cat. So his nervousness felt strange. I looked at Bak Ting. She also looked troubled. Her brows were tight, and she seemed to be thinking hard. Old Zhang leaned forward and spoke at last. He began, "At first," I said, "when he came to Earth, he did not know Earth fully. That is why he entered a cat. On his planet, the mission to Earth was seen as a risky adventure. He paused. He went, old Zhang said, and then there was no news, so there was no second adventure. He added, and because time is different, for his people, not much time has passed. They may not even know he is in trouble. This explanation made sense. I asked again, do you know how badly his mind became weaker after he entered the cat? Old Zhang shied. In the first few hundred years, Earth years, he became a complete cat. It was terrible. Later, it slowly improved. After more than 1,000 years, he made a little progress. Old Zhang looked down. He tried to use cats to do something, but humans fought back. He continued, you know there was a time when people linked cats with witchcraft. Many cats were caught and killed. I nodded. Yes, that was a dark time for cats, especially in Europe. Historians do not understand why people suddenly hated cats almost to the point of killing them all. Old Zhang said, at that time, he was in Europe. I looked at the black cat and gave a small, bitter smile. If you told this to a historian, people hated cats because one cat was fighting humans, no one would believe it. Old Zhang went on. After he failed, he knew cats and humans were too different. He could not win, so he left Europe and came to Asia. He said, later, after people's bad feelings about cats became weaker, things got better again. Bak Ting asked softly, what did he do at that time? Old Zhang did not want to speak, but he forced himself. He harmed some people, he said. He used his slowly returning mind to influence human thoughts. It was like hypnosis. The victims felt like they were possessed. Old Zhang shook his head, but it did not help. It could not change the place of cats and humans. I breathed in deeply. So people did not blame cats for nothing, I said. Cats really were linked to dark things. Old Zhang said quietly, that is the past. Bak Tong asked, Mr. Zhang, how long have you known this cat? Old Zhang seemed shaken again. I knew him since I was a child, he said. Maybe he felt he must connect with a human, or he would never change his fate. So he chose a child as a friend. That child was me. He continued, at that time, his mind had returned a little. Even 1/10 was already much smarter than a normal human. Old Zhang's eyes looked far away. I stayed with him for many years, so now we can fully share thoughts. Bak Tong and I said nothing. We did not know what to say. Old Zhang spoke slowly again. Since I could understand him, he said, I knew his only hope was to go back, to return to his own place. I raised my eyebrows. He doesn't want to go back with a cat body. That is impossible, right? Old Zhang was silent for a moment. Yes, he said, impossible. He must leave the cat body in the same way he came. Bak Tong said, you have helped him all this time, but you still did not succeed. Old Zhang rubbed his hands with pain. Yes, he said, we did not succeed. We know what to do, but there are many problems we cannot solve. I was shocked. From his words, I understood Old Zhang and the black cat had been working on this for a long time. They wanted to separate the soul from the cat body and send it back to another world. No human scientist had even dreamed of such work, yet they were doing it. And old Zhang sounded like they were not lost, they just faced difficulties. My palms became wet with sweat. I asked, "What method did you use?" Old Zhang looked uneasy, like he wanted to avoid the question. He said, "All methods came from him. I only used my hands to build things." When he said, "use my hands," my heart jumped. "Mr. Zhang," I asked quickly, "the knocking sounds in your home, were you building this thing?" Old Zhang shifted in his chair, more uneasy. "Yes," he said. I said, "There is something you may not know. Please forgive me. Once I went into your home in secret. I opened a big box. Inside there was a plate, 8-sided. On one half there were many small, sharp things. Was that your device?" I used my hands to show the shape. Old Zhang looked even more nervous, but after a short time he lifted his chest as if making a final choice. "Yes," he said. I could not help laughing. I could accept many strange ideas, but that plate, an 8-sided plate with many small sharp things, could send a soul back to another world? That sounded like a child's toy. I laughed and said, "Mr. Zhang, what is that? A magic plate with nails? What can it do? It looks like a toy. How can it do something so huge and hard to imagine?" Old Zhang shook his head. "Mr. Wei, forgive my blunt words. Even if we gather the best scientists in the world, they will not understand. Earth science is too low to understand how complex this device is."
He gave an example. "A flashlight is simple," he said. "But if a flashlight appeared 1,000 years ago, could the smartest people in the world explain why it shines?" I swallowed my words. I felt ashamed. His example was strong. People long ago thought they knew everything, yet they could not understand a simple thing. Maybe we are the same now. So I stopped arguing. Old Zhang said, "You called those small things nails, but they are not nails." I asked, "Then what are they?" Old Zhang spread his hands. "I can't say," he said. "Even if I say it, you won't understand. It is not in your world of knowledge." I felt annoyed. "Is it in your world of knowledge?" Old Zhang shook as if my words hurt him. He spoke in a vague way. I am like other humans," he said. "I only learned from him." Bak Tong suddenly asked, "How do you talk with him? Do you use cat language?" Old Zhang said, "No, he influences me. He uses his mind to speak directly to my mind." Bak Tong asked at once, "If he can talk to you with thoughts, why can't he do that with other people?" I also felt this question was important. I watched old Zhang closely. Like afore, when the topic touched old Zhang himself, he became uneasy. He forced a smile. "It is because," he said, "I stayed with him too long, many, many years." Bak Tong did not ask again. I did not ask either. That answer was almost enough.